In the heart of the Amazon, a thick mist covers the forest like a silent veil. From above, the green seems endless, an ocean of trees stretching as far as the eye can see. Rivers snake through the dense jungle, reflecting the first shy rays of the rising sun. Cutting through this natural silence, a military helicopter moves slowly across the sky above the forest. Small against the vastness of the jungle, yet carrying a mission that could change everything. Inside the cabin, the environment is lit only by the reddish glow of the control panels. 6 people occupy the interior of the aircraft, each lost in their own thoughts as they watch the forest far below. The flight continues smoothly until something changes. For a few seconds, the panel flickers. The radio crackles with a short metallic burst of noise. The altimeter fluctuates rapidly, as if something invisible has passed through the aircraft's systems. And then, everything returns to normal. The instruments stabilize. The radio falls silent again. But for a brief moment, everyone inside the cabin feels the same thing. Something there did not feel natural. As the helicopter continues moving across the forest, the landscape slowly begins to change. Among the endless sea of trees, a small clearing appears near a narrow river. A tiny point in the middle of millions of kilometers of untouched forest. That is where the team will land. The closest possible point to the place where something fell from the sky. The helicopter descends slowly, landing in a small clearing near the river. The force of the rotors shakes the treetops, sending leaves and dust swirling through the humid forest air. For a few moments, the machine dominates the sound of the jungle. Then, little by little, the rotors begin to fade. As the noise disappears, the forest breathes again. Equipment is unloaded quickly. Metal cases, sensors, and backpacks move from hand to hand while the team works in silence. Every movement is precise. Every second matters. They are now at the closest possible point to the location where something fell from the sky. The helicopter lifts off again, rising above the trees and disappearing into the distance. With it goes the last connection to the outside world. A deep silence settles over the clearing. Only the forest remains, vast, ancient, and completely indifferent to the presence of humans. With the helicopter gone, Sergeant Walker and Captain Ferreira begin to explore the edge of the clearing. Every step must be careful. Dry branches crack beneath their boots, breaking the stillness of the jungle floor. The ground is covered with old leaves, exposed roots, and hidden traces of life. Sunlight slips through the high canopy, casting moving shadows that shift slowly with the wind. For a moment, everything seems still, until something moves. Between the trunks, a large Amazonian spider emerges, slowly crossing a fallen piece of wood. It pauses there, perfectly still, then disappears into the leaves, as if it had never been there at all. In the jungle, life is always watching. Back in the clearing, the team begins transforming the empty space into a temporary base. Cables are stretched across the ground. Sensors are placed carefully between the trees. Antennas rise toward the sky. Cases open, revealing laptops, batteries, and scientific instruments. One by one, the devices come to life. Small screens glow in the dim light of the forest, displaying signals, data streams, and slowly moving graphs. Human technology, once again, attempting to understand the unknown. While the rest of the team continues working, Brooks walks a few steps away from the camp. He sits on a case of equipment and looks out toward the endless forest. For a moment, everything else feels far away. Cities, roads, the constant noise of civilization. Out here, there is only the sound of the jungle. He takes out his phone and starts recording a personal message. Maybe as a record, maybe as a memory, or maybe just to remind himself that somewhere beyond this forest, the rest of the world still exists. The team finally settles into the clearing. Cables, sensors, and computers now form a small island of technology in the middle of millions of kilometers of untouched rainforest. But despite all the preparation, one truth becomes clear. They are alone, completely surrounded by one of the oldest and most mysterious places on Earth. And somewhere out there, not far from this clearing, is the object that fell from the sky. Something that was never meant to be here. To the south, on the frozen edge of the world, another part of the project continues its silent watch. A violent snowstorm sweeps across the Antarctic ice. From above, the research base appears almost swallowed by white. Wind moves across the endless frozen landscape, erasing every trace of movement within seconds. Inside the station, the atmosphere is calmer, but no less focused. Dr. Leah Navarro adjusts a set of monitoring sensors near one of the main consoles, carefully studying the incoming data. Nearby, one of the technicians watches the readings with visible skepticism, questioning why 5 global bases would be activated simultaneously if the event was nothing more than a meteorite impact. Without looking away from the monitor, Leah calmly explains that events like this are rarely only about the impact itself. Moments later, a notification appears on one of the screens. The Amazon base is establishing a connection. For the first time since the alert began, Leah allows herself a faint smile. Thousands of kilometers away, deep inside the Amazon rainforest, the expedition team has finally completed its installation. A secure communication network links the monitoring centers scattered across the world. Several locations appear on the shared system: Antarctica, the Atacama Desert, Central Europe, a research station at the Pacific Ocean, and high above them all, a remote observation post in the Himalayas. From the Amazon base, Amelia Ward appears on the screen, calm, focused, completely in control. She reports that the team has successfully established the expedition camp and that environmental scans will begin shortly. However, she explains that it is still too early for the team to approach the exact impact site. The discussion that follows remains strictly technical. Each station confirms operational stability. Data streams begin to synchronize across the global network. For now, everything appears normal. Later that evening, after the official communication channels close, another connection quietly appears. This one is private. Only 2 participants remain online: Leah in Antarctica and Amelia in the Amazon. Leah leans slightly closer to the camera and jokingly comments that Amelia always seems to choose the most dangerous locations for her missions. Amelia responds with a faint smile, noting that Leah appears to prefer the coldest ones. For a brief moment, Neither of them says anything. The silence between them is comfortable, the kind shared between people who have known each other for a long time. Then Leah studies Amelia more carefully and asks whether she informed her father about the Amazon mission. The question lingers in the air for a moment. Amelia's expression shifts subtly. She explains that she did inform him, but that he did not need to know every detail. Leah nods with quiet understanding. The conversation pauses briefly before Leah tells Amelia to contact her as soon as the team discovers anything unusual. Amelia promises that Leah will be the first to know. Moments later, the connection closes. Behind the professional tone of their exchange, something deeper remains unspoken. Distance, formality, control. Whatever relationship Amelia still maintains with her father, warmth does not appear to be part of it. Night slowly settles over the Amazon rainforest. Small lights illuminate the expedition camp inside the clearing. The team continues working quietly, completing the final adjustments of the day. Walker pauses for a moment and looks out toward the surrounding jungle. Something about the forest feels different. He notices the unusual quiet and points it out to Captain. The captain listens carefully. The Amazon rarely becomes truly silent, but tonight, something in the forest seems to be changing. Suddenly, near the river, a violent burst of wings breaks the stillness. Dozens of birds rise into the darkness all at once. For a brief moment, the jungle erupts with movement. And then, just as quickly, everything stops. An unnatural silence spread through the forest. Walker watches the darkness beyond the camp, clearly unsettled, wondering if birds are even supposed to fly at night. Captain keeps his eyes fixed on the tree line and quietly observes that birds usually only react that way when something frightens them. Inside the operations tent, Amelia glances toward one of the monitoring screens. No alerts appear, no anomalies are detected. Everything seems completely normal, and yet something about the moment does not feel normal at all. Amelia narrows her eyes slightly as she studies the data. Above the clearing, the perspective slowly rises. The small lights of the expedition camp grow smaller against the overwhelming darkness of the surrounding rainforest. The Amazon stretches endlessly in every direction, silent, watching.